Hello and welcome back. This is part 4 of the 4-part mini-series on the process of how to go about designing the future that you want to have. If you've not been through the other 3 parts yet, then just go back and visit those 3 videos and I run you through the whole process, which gets you fully prepared to run through the process I'm going to go through today in just a moment. But before I go to that, let me just recap where we've been. So I talked about the 4 principles for success, which were to have a plan. Step 1 is have a plan. Step 2 is to have some sort of a feedback device so that you know whether what you're doing is working or not, moving towards or away from the plan that you have. If what you're doing isn't working, step 3 is to change what you're doing. And step 4 is if you really don't know what to do at all, then go and find somebody else that you trust and find out someone who does know what it is that you need to be doing. Then I talked about the 3 principles for change, which are number 1, the work that you do in the office as such, and that includes this work within this video series. That's the in the office part of the work. Step 2 is to enforce your boundaries so that you're clear with what you're doing, and if people say things like you'll never achieve that, you have to be able to put that back to them and say that you will. So that's the next step, is to enforce your boundaries. And step 3 is to focus on what you want, because your energy flows where your mind goes. So you'll get the results that you reach for. So if you reach towards the things that make you feel better, then that's what you'll get. If you reach towards things that don't do that for you, then that's what you'll get. So I'm suggesting that it's much better to head towards a positive idea in your mind than not to do that. Then I talked about reasons versus results. And if you're saying to me that all these things are just happening to you and that's why you feel the way that you do, then that's giving me reasons why things are happening. Once you get over to the cause side of the equation, what you'll say is that you're creating all the things that are happening. So you're not creating what events are happening in the world outside you, but you're creating your responses to those things, and you have control over those things. Once you realise that you have control over those things, then you can start to change them because you're in control and the things that you can do. And then I talked about the logical levels that bring about results. So your purpose in life will drive the values that you hold, the things that you think are important to you, and they will help to create the beliefs that you have about the world and yourself. And those beliefs will drive, and those attitudes will drive towards the skills and abilities that you develop. And those things will enable or not the behaviours that you're capable of producing, which will get you the results that you're getting. So if you don't like the results that you're currently getting, you just need to change some of those things along the way. It's quite simple and anyone can do it. And finally, I talked about SMART goals. So when you have a SMART goal, when you have an idea of what it is that you want in the future, then it has to be specific, measurable, written as if now in the present tense, and it has to be realistic, and there has to be a time function on those things. So all of those things I've talked about so far, they come down to, as you think of the future that you want to have, do you have a picture? And that's where we pick it up from today. So I'd like you to take a minute, let's take a minute now, and consider for yourself, as a result of all those processes that you've been through in the previous 3 videos, what is it that you want? What is it that you want? How do you want to be? It might not be a result that you want to get in terms of I want to earn this much money next year or things like that. It might be difficult to focus on. But how do you want to be might be how you want to be in 5 months, 6 months, 3 months, today. And as you think of that, do you have a picture? Okay, so I'm going to give you another few seconds to think about the future that you want to have and to bring that into being able to imagine that. And then we're going to go forward. So if you need more time at this point, just press the stop button for a second and sit back and do yourself a little meditation or guided visualization, however you want to call it, and create in your mind an image of it already happening. Okay, so we're ready to go forward. So here's what we're going to do. You have a time, remember, that's the critical part about it, where this is going to exist. So during the instructions I'm about to give, I'm going to, at one point, I'm going to say to go forward in time to that specific time that you have in mind. And I'll keep it that open because obviously there's potentially many people with different times running through the video at the same time. So I won't say an actual your specific time, but you have to have that in your mind for when I get to that part of the process. And if you want any extra help with all of these things, by the way, then you can get in touch. There's details at the bottom of the video, and I'm quite easy to find anyway. Okay, so here we go. You ready? Okay. So what I'd like you to do is think about the future version of you that's going to exist. Okay, good. And as you think of that, do you have a picture? Okay, good. What I'd like you to do is just for a moment, just close your eyes, okay? Close your eyes. And pull up into mind that picture, okay? And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to step right inside that picture. So you're looking through your own eyes and you're looking around and listening to what it sounds like around you, okay? And see what you see and hear what you hear and feel how it feels already achieving this future version of you that you wish to exist. And what I'd like you to do is, as you continue to see what you see and hear what you hear and feel what you're feeling now, I'd like you to just take a moment and take some adjustments to the colour, maybe turn the brightness up or down, more or less colour, maybe adjust the contrast, the volume, maybe a bit louder, maybe a bit quieter. Just play around with those controls in your mind for a moment, because it is just your imagination at the end of the day. And what you'll find is, as you adjust these things, one of them will have a critical factor that makes it feel even more positive. So I want you to just go ahead now and change what you need to change. Make all the adjustments at the unconscious level, in other words, in order to make this picture feel the most real for you. Okay, good. Now, step outside the picture so that you see yourself in the picture. And that's really critical. See yourself in the picture, achieving what it is, the future you that's going to exist. Good. Now, what I'd like you to do is, you have a concept in your mind of the future and of the past. You know the difference between that. You know that things have existed in the past because you have memories of them. And you know that although the future kind of doesn't exist, we like to have ideas about them. I intend to have future birthdays, for example, and there are things that are happening in the future that I intend to still happen. And as I think about those things, I have directions that I think of to do with where my past is and where my future is. And it's the same for you. If I was to ask you where your future is, I'm sure that you would point somewhere, either forwards to backwards, left to right, up to down, or in some other directions away from yourself. So take a moment to just think to yourself where your future and where your past is. Okay, good. It's either left, right, forwards, backwards. However you do it is absolutely right for you. There's no wrong way to do this. See? So just go ahead and decide where your future is and where your past is. Okay, good. And now what I'd like you to do is, I'd like you to take a moment and just go ahead and float right up above yourself where you are right now. So you can see yourself below. And then what I want you to do is, I want you to take that picture, the picture of you achieving the thing in the future that you're going to be. That's right. And pull that picture up now. Okay, great. Make sure that you see yourself in the picture. And then what we're going to do is we're going to breathe into this picture 4 times. We're going to breathe some life into this picture, make it more vibrant. And breath is life, so that's how we're going to go about doing that, okay? So take 4 breaths and breathe them out into the picture while you continue to hold that in your mind now. So breathe in first, and out into the picture. More vibrant, and in, and out into the picture. Make it even more vibrant, and in, and breathe it out into the picture. Make it even more vibrant, and last time in, and breathe out into the picture. Make it even more vibrant. There you go, good. Now I want you to take this vibrant picture of you achieving the thing in the future that you're going to achieve. I'd like you to go out into the future along your timeline, out to that specific moment in the future where this is going to exist. Good, and when you get there, what I'd like you to do is, when you're prepared to have this start coming true for you in your life, I'd like you to just go ahead, let go of the picture and let it drop down into your timeline, right down there in front of you, beneath you, and right down into the timeline, and just like the sound of a Tupperware lid, just lock it into place right there. And notice the events, forwards and backwards of that event, re-evaluating themselves in the light of this new information. Good. And now what I'd like you to do is to float back towards now, only as quickly as you're prepared to re-evaluate all the events in between then and now. And I'd like you to, as you're going back, notice at least 3 or more points along the way where you could leave yourself little signposts along the way that point towards the future that you want to have happen. Almost like little presents that you've left in the future for yourself, so that you kind of know that you're on the right path because you hit these points along the way. That's good. Good. And then when you get right the way back to on that, just drop back down into now and come fully back. Good. Okay, so that's the process. It's that simple. You can do this process again and again. You can run through the other videos again. You can create new things that you want to have happen in the future, and you can run through this process. Of course, if you want to have more help from me, then you can get in touch with me either at info@nlptraining.org.uk, or I'm very easy to find. There's more details beneath this video. I'm very eager to help people. And of course, it's not just about future events far into the distant future. It's actually, an hour into the future. It could be right now. It can be seconds away. Once you are starting to realize that you are creating the world that you're living in, you're creating the future. Although the future doesn't exist as such, the very things that you're doing and thinking and being now are leading towards the future that's coming towards you, and you can change how it's happening inside you now, and therefore you can change the quality and the type of future that's heading towards yourself. So go right ahead, and thanks for taking part in the 4 parts of this video. If you've got any questions about it, please get in touch. I'm available most of the time, and I'm going to be coming back with more videos in the future of different hints, helpful stuff that we can utilize immediately during this time, which is for some people it's quite a stressful time, quite undecided in many respects. And I think it's important in times like this to start to actually create some things that are going to happen, including how I'm going to be, and continuing to know that there is going to be a future out there that's past all of the current future world events and onwards and past all of that, and to start to decide how that's going to be for me, including my own health, my well-being, my mental resilience, my flexibility, because the world that's coming will be probably substantially different from the one that's existed before, and to be prepared to change. Remember, step 3, if what you're doing is not working, then change what you're doing. So that's it from me. I hope this has been useful, these 4 parts of the video, and I wish you the very best of health. Stay healthy, stay well, and hopefully I'll see you again in the future. Take care now.